Factsverse presents Things That You Never Knew About Dolly Parton. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a single video. Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is a living legend. Whether you're a fan of country music or not, there's a good chance that you know her name and have seen her face. Dolly is famous for her big hair and shiny costumes. Dolly is an incredible singer and has sold over 100 million albums worldwide. And she's also starred in some fantastic films. Dolly's story is an amazing one. You're about to hear about this superstar's life, and some of it may shock you. Her family paid the doctor in cornmeal. Dolly Rebecca Parton was born on July 19, 1946. She was born in a small cabin in rural Tennessee. Dolly's father, Robert, was a sharecropper. Her mother, Avie, stayed at home to look after the 12 children she had by the time she was 35 years old. They lived in a small one-bedroom home, and her family didn't have a lot of money. On the day Dolly was born, her parents paid the doctor who delivered her in cornmeal. Dolly sings about hardships growing up. Dolly's early years were difficult, and they were the inspiration for some of her songs. The song My Tennessee Mountain Home is about her childhood in Tennessee. In the good old days, she sang about growing up in poverty. Coat of Many Colors is about a coat that her mother once made her out of rags. Dolly's songs told a story about the hardships of her life, but they all emphasized love and never regret. Sleeping arrangements. We always see Dolly Parton decked out in the greatest clothes, so it's hard to imagine her living in poverty. Dolly says that growing up, they would sleep 3 to 4 kids to a bed. When she would get in the bed with her younger siblings, she often got peed on. When asked if she would change the sheets when this happened, she said no. It was a blessing when she got peed on because it kept her warm for a little while in the freezing cold house. A devoted sister. Dolly's role as a sister went above and beyond a typical sister's role. Her mother had so many children that when she had a baby, she would assign it to one of the older kids. She would tell the older kids that this is their baby, and it would be up to that child to take care of the baby. Dolly says she always fulfilled her duties as best she could. When Dolly was 9, tragedy struck her family when her brother Larry died 4 days after he was born. Dolly says it was an extremely hard time for her family. A serious accident. Dolly's family didn't have the money for proper health care, which meant that even in emergencies, the family had to figure it out on their own. When Dolly was young, she jumped across a fence onto a broken mason jar and cut 3 of her toes. It was so bad her toes were hanging off. Dolly's mother used kerosene for antiseptic and took out her sewing kit to sew her daughter's toes back on. Her mother did a pretty good job, and Dolly didn't experience any lifelong issues. She's always been able to wear the highest heels with ease, and her toes don't cause any problems. A religious family. Dolly's family was very religious, and her grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. The family attended church every week, and it was at church that Dolly started singing. When she was just 6 years old, Dolly performed for the first time on stage at her family's church. When Dolly was 8, she made her own guitar and performed with her uncle. Soon, Dolly was singing on local television and radio shows. When Dolly was 13, she released a single called Puppy Love with a small Louisiana label. She even got to take the stage at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. This is where she met Johnny Cash, who encouraged her to follow her dreams. Dolly was bullied. As a young girl, the kids would bully her for appearing on television. She said that this always had a serious impact on her. When Dolly got older, she released a children's album titled I Believe in You. One of the songs on the album was titled Makin' Fun Ain't Funny, and it takes a good look at the issue of bullying. The lyrics of the song go, "Don't do this, making someone else feel small to make yourself look big. If you can't be big, don't belittle someone else. That's not the thing to do." The proceeds from the album went to a foundation for children's literacy that Dolly started called Imagination Library. Over the years, the foundation has given over 100 million books to children. Nashville songwriting. Dolly graduated from Sevier County High School in 1964. The next day, she moved to Nashville. Dolly and her uncle, Bill Owens, teamed up as a songwriting duo. They signed to Combine Publishing, and they found success quickly. In 1966, the two wrote Put It Off Till Tomorrow for Bill Phillips, and it was his first top 10 hit. Their next big song came a year later when they wrote Fuel to the Flame for Skeeter Davis. Dolly and her uncle also wrote songs for Hank Williams Jr. and Kitty Wells. Very early on, people recognized that Dolly had a talent for songwriting. The early recording years. Dolly signed with Monument Records in 1965. She wanted to record a country album, but the label thought that with her distinctive voice, she would be better off singing bubblegum pop. None of her songs were major hits, and when Put It Off Till Tomorrow made it to number 6 on the country charts, Monument realized her potential. In 1967, she released Hello, I'm Dolly, and it went to number 11 on the country charts. Her song, Something Fishy, landed on the top 20 country chart. Finding love. On Dolly's first day in Nashville, she went to the Wishy Washy laundromat. There, she met Carl Dean. He was driving by in a pickup truck, and their chance meeting resulted in a marriage. The couple has been married for 50 years and counting. Dolly was 20 when they met, and Dean was 23. Dolly wanted to marry Dean, but the label thought that being married would damage her career. Dolly and Dean didn't want to wait, so they eloped. Taking off. Porter Wagoner, aka Mr. Grand Ole Opry, was one of the most popular country music stars of his day. Over 3 million viewers tuned into the show every night. In 1967, Wagoner offered Dolly a spot on his show, which is where she would be introduced to the world. Dolly replaced Norma Jean and immediately won over the audience. She also signed to Wagoner's label, RCA Victor. Norma's duets with Dolly were a huge success, but her solo work didn't do as well. In 1970, Wagoner had Dolly make her own version of Mule Skinner Blues by Jimmie Rodgers. It was then that Dolly became a successful solo artist. The song reached number 3 on the country chart. From there, things just kept getting better. Joshua was Dolly's first #1 country record. Next, Jolene went to #1, and it began her string of #1 songs. Within 10 years, she had many hits, awards, gold medals, and she was a star. Dolly and King. One of Dolly's best songs as a singer and songwriter is I Will Always Love You. The song caught the attention of Elvis Presley, who wanted to record his own version of the song. Dolly was ready to give the green light until Elvis's manager, Colonel Tom Parker, told Dolly she would be giving up half of the publishing rights to the song, which was required anytime Elvis sang a song written by someone else. People told Dolly she was crazy because he was Elvis Presley. Dolly didn't care and didn't give up the rights. When Whitney Houston sang the song for the soundtrack to the movie The Bodyguard, it breathed new life into the song. It became the best-selling single by any woman of all time. Dolly got full publishing royalties. She says that when Whitney's version was released, she made enough money to buy Graceland. Out of the spotlight. Dolly's husband, Carl, never had a problem with being out of the spotlight. In 1966, Dolly was set to attend an awards dinner for her first significant record. She and Carl got dressed up, and they went to the ceremony together. They walked the red carpet together, had dinner, and sat through the awards ceremony. Carl told her afterwards he was happy to be there to support her, but never to ask him to go to an event again. This was the first and last industry event that Carl Dean ever went to, and Dolly is okay with it. No children. When Dolly was in her mid-30s, she experienced health issues that required her to undergo a partial hysterectomy. This meant she wouldn't be able to have children. She says that this was a tough time in her life. Dolly helped to raise her siblings, and she wanted to have a family of her own. She believes that having a family just wasn't in God's plan for her and found a way to accept it. Tattoos. If you're a fan of Dolly's, you know she only wears long sleeves. And this is why. Dolly had keloid scars on her arms. To cover them up, she got tattoos. She chooses to keep her tattoos private, so she wears long sleeves often. Which of these facts was most surprising to you? Let us know in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to Factsverse for more great videos.